Also here is Serena Dank. You are youth counselor and founder of Parents of Punkers. You are also from California.
Yes, I am. I've done some talk shows and all over the country, and I found out that it is happening everywhere. And what happens is, when I first met Robbie, Robbie was rejecting everybody. She rejected her family, she rejected the schools, she rejected everybody around her. She was extremely hostile, and that's how she digested the message.
Robbie is 16.
That lady said that we're not responsible. We take care of ourselves. A lot of us work. It takes a lot of guts to do what we're doing, to walk down the street and be ostracized by the rest of society.
Could I ask you something? How old are you?
I'm 24.
You're 24. How do you think a 14-year-old digests this? How do you think I feel when I get at least 2 or 3 crisis phone calls per day where Ursula's son comes home with his head split open, where Ursula's son has his hand broken 5 times in 1 month?
I'll tell you what I think of that.
Cigarette burns.
I'll tell you what I think of that.
Arms.
I think they got bad parents. That's what I think of that.
They feel, and they're upset at the suggestion that because they're in the punk rock movement, they're going to mutilate themselves or commit suicide.
But I would like to just say to the audience, take a look at these kids. Do you think a 14 or 15-year-old will reach it to this age if they start at 12, 13, and 14 years old? Why shouldn't you then encourage me to get the kids back together again with their parents? Why don't you guys go out there and
you're not trying to get them back together with their parents. You're trying to get them to be just like their parents.
I just went to a club on Friday night, and when I walked in, I was in a fairly good mood. When I walked out, I was so angry. What happened was it was just body to body, and while I was standing there, I was just innocently looking, around, whatever, and I got beer shot in my face and obscenities.
Good. Good. You say good?
Bill, it's
She's
my
there being a
responsibility.
spectator and to pass judgment, and we don't want it. Stay away.
Wait, who doesn't belong?
Parents whose worst fears have been realized have turned to a psychologist who's made relations between parents and punks her specialty. She deals with parents and kids who were frightened and hurt. Her name is Serena Dank.
People have this vision of groups of parents getting together and trying to stamp out punk, which is not true. Parents of Punkers is a group of people that get together, discuss ways of coping, of understanding, information, and it also involves the teenagers. It's not just the parents. I wish more parents would call me who wanted to know, to understand, even if their child is not into it, to just have some idea of what might happen, what to look for, so that they're not shocked when their kid comes home with green or orange hair. I think at this point nothing faces me anymore. I've seen everything. I don't get shocked by anything. I'm concerned continually. I'm very concerned. I think that's another reason why I hang in there, is I want to see these kids survive this so-called phase.
At a large punk concert, what it is there is freedom to violate anyone else's body space, but you're not free to punch someone in the nose. You're free to, flail around and pogo and whatever.
That's not true. Absolutely. I've been to punk concerts. And 3 weeks ago, a young man that I know very well came home. He was beat up by 15 punks and spent the entire night in the hospital being repaired.
I'm not saying it's violence-free, and that stuff happens, and they're always...
it continues to happen.
Particularly on the left.
There are no rules in a punk concert.
There's
no rules in life either. I mean, you can get beat up
Hang on
anywhere.
just a second.
Miss Dank was talking about how, one of her clients were beaten up by 15 punks. Okay, I've been beat up by 15 jocks. I've been beat up by,
A jock is what? A basic American athlete, male.
Okay, you can't classify things like that with punks. She says, she saw, punks in the corner throwing sticks. Haven't you ever seen other people being obnoxious? I mean, punks are people.
Miss Dank, I want to say to you, I think you're doing a marvelous job, because bridging the gap is communication, and that's where it's all about. You can be you, and you can be us.
What is the difference between, for instance, punk and, let's say, hippies?
I would think the only similarities are that it's something that kids turn to. It's something that you could identify by dress. You can certainly tell a punk, and you certainly could tell a hippie. The major difference, I would say, is that there has been more self-violence, whereas the hippies were, on a bandwagon to stop the war, and they wanted the future generations to survive. The message of punk, a lot of it is, there is no future. We probably won't survive because of the nuclear bomb.